How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode of my new podcast series called Preparing for the Future. We are now on episode 7. Yes, we are at the episode right before the series finale. Very exciting stuff. And today's the last time we're actually talking about a new topic because the finale is kind of going to be recapping everything I've kind of talked about in these past episodes and whatnot. But today, I think, is a very important topic, and that is dealing with stressful situations at work. I kind of talked a little bit about this in the last episode because I had some stories and examples that kind of fall under that category, but I try not to get too much into that because I wanted to make an entire episode for this particular topic. And for today's episode, we will have another guest speaker who will come in later in the podcast, and I'll introduce her, and they'll be able to talk about their own experiences. But for now, I got a little bit more time, so let's talk about the situation. Now, when it comes to going into work, there's not a shadow of a doubt that there's going to come a time where you're going to have to deal with a situation that becomes very stressful or a situation that you just don't know how to handle. And it may get a little bit crazy. And today I'm going to talk to you how you can kind of get around that stressfulness and be able to tackle the job with absolutely no stress whatsoever. And during my line of work, I've gone through many stressful situations. And in both areas that I worked in, from the golf course that I worked in and to Disney. And each one is a little bit differently than the other. But during those times, when these new situations came up, we had to really think about how to assess the situation and what to do when I would eventually have to tackle that situation. So there's not really a best case, and how should I say this? There's not really a way for me to guide you through your own situations, but I can give you some tips and share with you my own experiences about what I've done in stressful situations. First things first, if you're working on the job and you see something in front of you that looks like you're going to have to take care of it, but you just don't know how to do it, here are a couple tips for that. One, take a breath. Get a hold of yourself. Try not to get, too worrisome, because if you do that, then you're just going to be making yourself more nervous. Take a breath. And just look at what's going on. If you know it's a situation that you can't handle alone, then don't get involved. You can take out your walkie-talkie, your company phone, whatever you have to do, and contact somebody to assist you. And if they don't know, then go to another person, because then you keep on building up resources until eventually you know that you have enough resources in mind to go and deal with this situation. And that's the best way I can really put it to you then. But yes, if it's something that you can take care of, then, get a hold of yourself, take a breath, be relaxed and calm, and go deal with the situation step by step. Now, if you don't know how to handle the situation, then maybe you should go and look for someone that may know how to handle the situation. And who knows, they may even teach you how to handle it in the future. And that's essentially the best tip I can give you guys, because you're going to be dealing with many different situations in your line of work. Not all situations are the same. And sometimes you're going to be faced with something that's completely unexpected that you may have to deal with. And now I'm going to move on to the stories that I'm going to present to you guys. And I've actually got a good chunk of them, but I had to pick one for this particular topic. So first things first, we are going to go with, there's a lot that I can talk about here. I think I'm going to go directly into Disney. I think I as much as I want to bring up something from the golf course, I can't really think of anything at the time. But Disney, I just have too many examples to share with you guys. And the first one is when I was working and we had a parade going on. This is when I was working in the Magic Kingdom. So in case you guys have no idea where I am, I'm gonna help you out. So in case you need to Google this, I am at the ice cream shop that is in Main Street, USA. If you want to take some time to Google that, you kind of can get this idea of where I was at during that time. So I'm at the ice cream shop and we have the parade going on. So all the streets are completely full. Nobody can go on the streets. They have to take the sidewalks and go around to get from point A to point B. So that's the setup. So I'm cleaning up trash by the ice cream shop, and I have a woman come up to me with a baby in her stroller. I can't see the child, but I'm assuming that the baby is just sleeping. So the woman comes up to me, and she asks me, "Hi, my child is not feeling so well. We need to get out of the park." So I'm like, "Okay, we need to, this. This is all about info. This goes back to safety too. So I got to take that in mind too." So I take a breath. I look at the woman and I say, "Okay, well, unfortunately, okay, sorry, I messed that up. The woman wanted to get to the daycare center, which is literally across the street. And the only way for her to get to the daycare center is for her to go basically in a loop around the castle hub." So I told her, "Well, because of the parade, nobody can really cross the streets this time, but we have all the sidewalks all cleared with an open path, so you'll just have to go all the way around the castle hub to get what you want, to get your child to that center." And then the woman's getting more frustrated too. She's like, "No, that's not good enough. We need to get out of the park right now." Okay, so now she wants to get out of the park. Okay, so then I tell her, "Okay, what you want to do is go past the ice cream shop and take a left, and then it's just a direct straight path down to the exit. You'll just have to make one small little loop around where the town hall is, and you'll be able to get out of the park, and everything will be safe in town." But apparently that's not good enough for her. And she keeps on hammering me with questions. I'm getting a little bit stressed. I don't know what to do. So what do? I take out my Disney iPhone that I have that they provide us, and I call one of my coordinators and say, "Okay, ma'am, I'm really sorry that I can't assist you. Let me call my leader, and we'll be able to help you as soon as possible." So I did that, and my leader came by, all happy, very nice. He's like, "Oh, hey, Tim, is there anything you need help with?" And by the time I turned around, the woman had already left. So I didn't really solve the situation, but I did everything that I could to, be patient, think about what's going on, and be able to do it, nice and calm and not crazy. And that's the best way that I handle this situation. But now I'm going to stop talking for a bit, and we're going to introduce our next guest by the name of Allison Sanders, who goes to Aurora University, and she's going to tell you about her own situations that she's had to deal with. So take it away, Allie.
Hello, my name's Allison. I am a sophomore at Aurora University and I'm double majoring in political science and marketing. So, a time I dealt with a stressful situation was actually a few years ago when I used to work at a kennel. So, primarily, we housed a lot of dogs and we had to do things like playtime with the dogs and group playtime. So, during group playtime, it was when a few different dogs would get together and play together. But one of the hard things about this is sometimes dogs just don't get well with other dogs, even though the owners say that they're not aggressive or anything like that. So it's really important. It was really important for me in my role to be able to watch the dogs and to make sure that everything was safe. But unfortunately, there were a few times where dogs would get upset with each other and they would fight. So there was a time where there were two labs. I believe it was a black lab and like a golden lab who just didn't get along together very well and they started fighting, and I was the only supervisor that was watching the dog, so it was my job to be able to break up the fight. Now, it's very difficult and stressful when dogs are fighting because you have to be careful to make sure that you don't get hurt, but also the dogs don't get hurt as well. So, usually, we do have a little like siren thing that we use, but unfortunately, that day I didn't have that with me. So, I was very stressed in the situation, but I analyzed the dogs and I analyzed the space around me. And we did have a few outdoor cages that we used when the dogs would have to go outside to go to the bathroom, things like that. So immediately I had to deal with the stress and I couldn't take a lot of time to try to find a solution. I had to work very fast because the dogs were at danger and I was at danger as well. So it took a while, but I was actually able to separate the dogs. And I think what really helped me during that stressful situation was I wasn't thinking about the stress or anything. I was just focusing on how can I solve this issue the fastest way possible without causing any other trouble or anything like that. And I think looking back for just stressful situations in life, it's really important to kind of just focus on the situation at hand and don't focus on what's going to happen after the situation or anything like that because that could lead to a worst case scenario. So now from that situation, I've kind of learned how to handle my stress. And I also think that it's really important to take a step back after a such stressful situation and after you've dealt with it, to be able to really kind of recoup after it and also learn from it. I think it's really important to learn from stressful situations, and it helps you to prepare to handle other stressful situations in the future. So that was a really good learning experience for me, to deal with something that was not just like a mental stress but a physical stress as well. And it showed me that if I was able to handle that, then most likely in the future I could handle other more stressful situations as well. And you always grow little by every different situation you're in, and it's important to look back and to be able to analyze what you did right and what you did wrong and how you could do better.
Okay, thank you very much, Allie, for giving us a little insight on what you had to deal with. And now we're kind of on the end of this episode, and as much as I would kind of like to kind of wrap things up, I have one more story that I want to say, but this is more of a funny story, but it does deal with the situation. But I am going to have to watch what I say because, I don't want to disgust anybody, but it is a situation that it could happen to you. So better safe than sorry. All right? Okay. So there was a time that I went into work, and as you guys know, in Disney, there are horses that walk around the Disney parks taking guests. Well, sometimes those horses have accidents, and they need to be cleaned up. So for some reason, I come into work today, and one of my coworkers tells me that there's some trash on the ground that we have to clean up. So we go and clean that up, and then we see a little present that the horse left behind. Okay. And then we realize that it's a pretty big mess. It's got to be cleaned up right away because there are a lot of people walking around, but we're going to need some help. There is no way that we're going to do this. We can do this by ourselves. Like, we don't have enough equipment. We can't each go running back and getting more supplies because something could happen. And we're very, very stressed. So what do? I'll tell you what we do. We take out our phones and we contact our leader. We call her and we say, there's a very big mess out down by the hub of the castle. We're going to need a lot more hands, a lot more supplies because we can't take it. So our leader comes by to see, if it is really as big as we say it is. And then she realizes that the mess is pretty big. And also, there's a big downpour of rain that is coming. Like, I kid you guys not. If you are standing right by the castle, I'm going to give you guys a little view of where I was. If you're right in front of the castle and you look down from Main Street, you can see this big gray cloud coming with the downpour of rain. So my leader calls everybody, literally everybody in, and says, there's a big mess. We need as much supplies as possible, trash cans. So we take care of the mess, and we're almost done. We just have to make sure we spray the right chemicals and get it all clean so everything's good to go. The rain is coming, and we're all kind of freaking out because most of us have rain gear, but our leader doesn't. So, calm and collectedly, we finish cleaning up the mess, and it just starts raining. We were able to take care of the mess. No big deal whatsoever. We did it as a team, and it was great. It took that stress off, and all things worked out. And then just to give you guys a little continuation of that story, what happened, my leader did not have any rain gear, and it started downpouring. But someone had an extra thing of rain gear, and we covered up our leader so she did not get wet as soon as the downpour started. We got her back to base completely dry. And it was a big accomplishment. We were all so proud of ourselves, and it was really, really cool. Really, really cool. And I just had to share that story because it was a stressful situation, but it also involved teamwork too. But I wanted to save that story for this particular episode. And that pretty much wraps up this episode. The next time we meet, ladies and gentlemen, it will be for the finale, the final episode. And in that final episode, I will just kind of go over everything that I've talked about with all these topics, kind of giving you, let's say, final tips on what you can do to get through those particular situations. I'm not sure if there'll be any examples of stories, but I'm just going to kind of go over everything so that way you guys know what to do in the future. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the series finale. Thank you so much, and have a good one. Have a good one.